Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled Arts, Parks, and LA River Committee. Welcome to City Hall. We're going to start this meeting, and what I'd like to do is take some items on consent, but we do have one speaker who has filled out a card on every item, and so what we have is we have our first interruption. So let's note that we have our first interruption. I have a profanity-filled card by someone who would like to speak on all items. Please step forward if it's you. Can you call the card? I think it's you, and it's profanity-filled, and I'm not going to repeat it because I'm not going to lower myself to your level. So have a seat. Have a seat.
The Brown Act does not require that you state the words on the card if they're profanity-laced. Anything sufficient to identify the speakers.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Have a seat. You have 3 minutes. You have 2 minutes for your comments, and then 1 minute for your general public comment.
Yeah,
and
good.
Please start the clock.
I told a number of our guests today what a bunch of arrogant, bloated fucks you people are, and I'm going to prove it today. As you see, don't do business with this city because this is how they treat you. No other city in America does what these scumbags do in giving you no time to speak on items in an intelligent way. So I filled out the cards for the record, fuck-you. Now, Mr. Marco Ramirez, you're too intelligent. Why do you want to be serving on the Human Relations Commission? You got better things to do with your life. Don't do it. Revoke your appointment. Stay away from this city because this city's got a $246 million shortfall. They may ask you for a loan, so you don't want that. Now, the Board of Zoo Commissioners, Christopher Hopkins, again, another intelligent human being. You don't want to serve on the Zoo Commission. They kill animals. They killed an elephant. How do you kill an elephant? Only the scumbags here can kill an elephant. I've mentioned this before. They don't answer me because it's true. Say no. Then the Board of Recreation and Parks, yes, they've actually been sued for hundreds of thousands of dollars for violating the Brown Act. And they want to do an agreement with Singular Wireless? Does anybody still use Singular Wireless? Who the fuck wants to use Singular Wireless? Of course, because somebody here is getting a payoff. Vote no. Then we have the Recreation and Parks Commission, the Target Child Care in Lieu Fee by Mr. Doug Haynes. Well, Doug Haynes ran for Mitch O'Farrell's seat and unfortunately lost. Anything that Doug Haynes supports got to be good. That I will say yes to. Proposition K assessment.
You're entering into your general public comment now.
Okay. So, where's current price? See, current price is not here. Because current price is looking for something. He lost something. He's missing. Does anybody know what he's looking for and where it is? Because, I'm looking for the same thing, but nobody's been able to find it. New Jersey, Texas, Sacramento, San Diego, LA County. We just can't seem to locate the missing item. Where is this missing item? If anybody knows where the missing item is, please, for God's sakes, contact the Federal Bureau of Investigations because they're looking for the same thing too. Thank you so much and have a good day.
All right, I am joined by my colleagues Bob Blumenfield and David Rue, and we will now start the meeting, and we will start with item number 1. Mr. Sutton-Willis, please read the item.
Item number 1, a communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of Mr. Marco Ramirez to the Human Relations Commission for the term ending June 30, 2018.
Is Mr. Marco Ramirez present? Please step forward, Mr. Ramirez, and welcome. Congratulations on your nomination.
Thank you very much, sir.
And we look forward to hearing a little bit about your experience and what you'd like to bring to the commission.
Yes, sir. First, know that I consider this a great honor and an opportunity to be sitting before you. With that, I also think that this is an enormous responsibility. I've lived in Los Angeles for about 7 years, and it's been one of the best experiences of my life because it is so diverse, because we are leading the way in how we work with communities. I'm fortunate to work in community development and affordable housing, and I've done that for a number of years as a board member and now as staff. I'm fortunate also to work on the Jordan Downs redevelopment. And in Watts, it's humbling to see hardworking families joining forces with LAPD, with the council office, with the mayor's team, with other members of the city family. And when I saw, when the mayor's office contacted me, again, I saw that this was another opportunity, another way to do my part to serve the city. I grew up in public housing for a number of years, and through reflection, I feel that during that time, we lived in the shadows. We were not vocal about what was happening in our neighborhood, which was crime-infested, drug-infested, you name it. And I feel that I've been afforded opportunities to complete a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and even a doctorate. And so I feel that as part of a citizen of the city, that it is one small way for me to lend my talents, my skills, and even my vision toward making LA, even more inclusive and even more collaborative. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Well, you bring a very unique perspective to your commission work. And what do you see as your biggest opportunity to add voice, ideas, to sort of incorporate your experience into the commission and their work?
Well, I believe that our civil society, I think there's an opportunity to create opportunities for residents, LA residents, to work closely, specifically with LAPD. LAPD has a unit, it's called Community Safety Partnership, CSP. And I've seen CSP work closely with residents to tackle crime together. I believe that there's an opportunity to learn from what's happening in public housing and perhaps replicate what's working within this small unit across the city. Because we're seeing officers that understand the nonprofit sector. We're seeing officers that understand how to work with residents to tackle crime. I've been pleasantly surprised to see or to hear that residents call officers on their cell phones directly and report crime or even to compliment them for work that they're doing. So I think what I'm seeing day to day in Watts, in Jordan Downs, I think it's something that I can bring to the table.
Mm-hmm. Colleagues, questions, comments? No?
Thank you, sir.
Good
luck in this.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for stepping up to the plate. It's a very important commission at a very important time. We have countering violent extremism, and we have the support and encouragement of religious pluralism. And I have Indigenous Peoples Day pending. You'll probably get involved in that in some way. There are a lot of important issues going on at this time. So we really appreciate you volunteering to serve on this commission. So without objection, we will move you forward to the full council. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. Sutton-Willis, that brings us to item number 2.
Item number 2 is a communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of Mr. Christopher Hopkins to the Board of Zoo Commissioners for the term ending June 30, 2018.
Welcome, Mr. Hopkins.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Please give us a window into your thinking and what you bring to the commission and some of your perspectives.
Yeah. So thank you very much for having me here today. I'm a 42-year native of LA, born and raised. Left very briefly to go to college up in Berkeley and missed Los Angeles and came right back. So I've been here my whole life. Fortunate enough to be raised by parents who, I'm trying to think, I'm a 4th generation. Angelino, my grandmother, a janitor, raised my father. She was a janitor at the LA airport, so kind of grew up with a grandmother who worked for the city. My father went to LA High and really have instilled in me the opportunities that this great city can afford someone and any chance to serve, to give back. My wife and I, who's also a commissioner, have looked for those opportunities and have always been willing to volunteer and take time out of our professional schedules, which are busy, to give back to this great city. I think work that I've done in the community, be it at LACMA, the museum, with the William M. Keg Jr. Foundation, has really been focused on education. We think that it's the great equalizer, and when the mayor reached out in the office to work with what my wife and I think is just a great educational organization in the zoo, I jumped at the chance and feel that both professionally and in my philanthropic duties, that I'm very well prepared for this moment.
Mm-hmm. So you have an emphasis on educational opportunities and what the zoo is already doing. Can you expand on that a little bit in terms of focus?
Yeah, so I think working with the existing commissioner and the president on new agendas as it relates to education, different programs, partnerships with other organizations, are things that I hope to bring to the table. They're doing a great job, so I'm obviously not going to recreate the wheel. But if there's things that I can add or relationships that I can bring to bear, I will do so in this role.
All right, terrific. Colleagues, questions? Mr. Blumenfield.
Again, I wish you good luck and Godspeed, and I think you'll be great. And I like that you have got somewhat of a financial background. I think is important for this, as well as the care and concern about the zoo. And so I'm thrilled to support you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Terrific.
Council District 4 resident.
All right, there you go. Right where the zoo is. So you're also a neighbor to the zoo.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
Well, seeing as there's no objection, we'll move you for confirmation to the full council. And again, thank you for stepping up and serving on a commission.
Thank you, Councilman Carl. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
All right, colleagues, what I'd like to do now is take items 3, 5, and 6 on consent. If there are no objections, items 3, 5, and 6. Seeing as there are no objections, that shall be the order. And so that moves us to item number 4.
Item number 4, Department of Recreation and Parks report and appeal of the California Environmental Quality Act, Section 21151C, relative to the Board of Recreation and Park Commissioners' September 21, 2016 approval of the Board Report 16-208, Target Child Care in Lieu Fee, filed by Mr. Doug Haynes on behalf of the La Mirada Avenue Neighborhood Association of Hollywood.
All right, and colleagues, this is a CEQA fair hearing appeal. So I'd like to refer to Stefan Faubel, our city attorney, to provide us some guidance.
Thank you very much. So the procedure we'll follow is that we'll begin with public comment, general public comment at 1 minute each on the item. Then the appellant will get 5 minutes. The appellant has submitted extensive briefing in this already, but we'll get an additional 5 minutes for whatever he wants to say. Then we'll have any questions of the appellant that you wish. Staff will then give a presentation for up to 5 minutes as well. Again, questions if you have any for the staff. And then we'll close the comment on it, and you can then deliberate.
Terrific. Any questions? Sounds pretty straightforward. So we'll go ahead and move forward with the public comment on item 4. And we're going to start with Jennifer Moran, followed by Bill Zide, followed by John, and it might be Dewey. Forgive me for not... Dew, okay. Followed by John Dew. And you'll each have 1 minute. Yeah. Hi.
I'm not good at remembering my thoughts, so I had to write them down.
Let's hold the clock for a second. Yeah.
Okay. My name is Jennifer Moran.
Let's start the clock again.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
There we go.
My name is Jennifer Moran, and I came here because I am a mother of 2 small children. I did want to work after I had children, but I could not afford to work because it was not feasible for the cost of childcare. So when I learned about this issue, which I've known about for a while, I was surprised that the city was considering not having Target follow this law, because it seems like we have a chance to be a leader in our country by showing that we support the rights of minimum wage mothers and fathers who are trying to make enough money for their families. Target should not be allowed to ignore this responsibility. And I think that also the city and the community worked together to make a plan that were in the best interests of this community, that was basically acknowledging that people don't have enough money to work at these jobs without having childcare. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill Zeit, followed by John Dew, followed by Richard Schulman.
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Bill Zeit. I'm the former chair of the Hollywood Studio District Neighborhood Council in which this resides. We're here again, and I have submitted a letter from April of 2016 from going over this issue previously, and regrettably we're here again with Target and the city trying to evade the law in the community's interests. The HSDNC has always supported Target in the community. We only had one caveat, that they follow the law and the community's interests. Unfortunately, through two council administrations, they continue to refuse to take yes for an answer. Instead, we find the city aiding and abetting with a spot zone change and now an attempt to dodge child care center to support the workers for Target. Officials cannot claim progressive values and then support violating the law in favor of a $75 billion company. And Mr. Garcetti's letter supports this problem and conflict.
All right, John Dew, followed by Richard Schulman, followed by Carol Citrone.
Good morning. My name is John Dews. I'm the Senior Development Manager with Target, and I just wanted to confirm our commitment to this project and to the child care fee, which, as part of the SNAP for the zoning for the project, has always allowed for an in lieu fee. So we feel, and as does the City Council, as they voted for the project 5 times, that we're in complete conformance with this, and the $1.2 million fee, which we will be paying as part of the child care, again, we're fully committed to. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dews. Is Richard Schulman here? Richard Schulman, followed by Carol Citrone.
Morning.
Good morning.
I represent Target. The child care fee was always, as Mr. Dew said, in the specific plan. The City Council has approved this project, the overall project, about a half a dozen times, depending on how you want to count some reconsiderations and reapprovals. Each time it was with the fee. What's before you today is a very narrow and frankly silly issue, which is a claim that the fee requires an environmental analysis. It's silly for 2 reasons. One reason is there's no idea of where the money is going to be spent, so there is no physical project to evaluate. The second reason is the fee was already in the environmental impact report that the City Council approved in 2012 and 2013. It's way too late to claim that that was inadequate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carol Citrone. Good morning. I live in Silver Lake, but I lived for many years in that area, and I own property in that area in the SNAP zone. I just wanted to say that since Target has chosen to build their new store within the SNAP zone, they've designed the project to exceed the limits of that zone, and I think that SNAP, the requirement to include child care facilities for child care needs of the employees should happen. I think it's a progressive policy that Target needs to stand up and be a leader in the community, especially as a good neighbor policy. I think that since they are exceeding the limitations of the SNAP zone, they should compensate not with an in lieu fee, but with an actual child care facility, including not just the structure, but everything that is required to take care of their children. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear from the appellants, and I believe that is the appellant, Doug Haynes, who will have 5 minutes.
Thank Thank you. My name is Doug Haynes of the Law Avon Neighborhood Association, and thank you for bringing this before your committee, since CEQA appeals don't generally go before committees. They tend to just vanish after a while. First, I did ask in a letter that I submitted that the chair recuse himself on this matter for the reasons I will not repeat, but they're outlined in the letter. Quickly, when the City Planning Commission voted to impose condition number 47 upon Target, it was a requirement unanimously supported by the Commission that there not be an in lieu fee, that in fact Target provide child care either on-site or within a mile of the site. As stated by Commissioner Renee Dake-Wilson, I think that the in lieu fee for the child care is bogus. I don't think that it's ever going to result in actual child care for actual low-income employees at this retail store. Target's 1,800 stores generate over $75 billion annually, and their CEO receives $17 million in compensation every year. Their West Hollywood store is among the top 5 grossing Targets in the United States. Yet Target described the notion of providing child care for its employees as, quote, irrational, onerous, excessive, impractical, illegal, and an abuse of discretion, unquote. 2 studies were conducted regarding the in lieu fee amount. One was commissioned by Target, the other being a peer review. Both studies concluded that 22% of Target's 250 potential employees at the proposed Hollywood store would have children under age 6 or 56 children needing child care. Yet the in lieu fee amount was assessed for only 15 employees under the false conclusion that the other employees would choose to pay for child care near their residence. That conclusion omitted the fact that those minimum wage employees would have been provided with free child care if Target were forced by this city to provide it. The cost of child care in the vicinity of the Target store averages $1,100 a month or $13,000 a year. The average income in our neighborhood is $21,000 per year. The one-time in lieu fee amount that the city is requiring of Target is only $1.2 million. The cost of 15 children in child care is $195,000 per year. The cost of 56 children in child care is $728,000 per year. The monies being requested of Target, therefore, would last just 6 years for 15 children and under 2 years for 56 children. Target's site lease is for 75 years. The city would be required to provide child care for Target's employees for the life of the store. Yet none of the $1.2 million that Target would pay would go to actually operating a child care facility. The funding as approved by the Commission is restricted to creating the facility with no funds provided to actually operate it. Also, the fee analysis is based solely on daytime child care, while Target's employee hours will be from 6 a.m. to midnight. Single mothers need child care to reflect their realistic work schedule, especially weekends when employee hours are highest. Also, the fee analysis consists of Targets and 250 employees only at this project site, without also representing the additional 30,000 square feet of ground floor retail space, which is not included in the cost estimate. Those employees' child care needs also must be factored in. All this goes to the statement by Recs and Parks Commissioner Misty Sanford prior to reluctantly approving the fee last September. We're about to accept an in lieu fee to do something that we know will cost way more than that to do it, and I'm not sure that we have a plan or any understanding of how we're going to implement it for the company's employees. CEQA requires substantial evidence to conclude that feasible mitigation measures will actually be implemented. This is not the case here. As Commissioner Sanford acknowledged in September, quote, we are now being asked to figure out a plan to employ funds that we know are not enough to create something that we all know is going to be way more expensive to create, unquote. Recs and Parks staff contend that the approval of the in lieu fee is strictly a funding mechanism and that there currently is no physical project and therefore the matter is categorically exempt from CEQA. Staff is wrong. The physical project is a 420,000 square foot retail development in Sunset and Western. Small projects which are part of a larger project require an environmental review must be reviewed as part of the larger project and are not exempt from CEQA. The city is therefore piecemealing its review of the child care matter. The City Planning Commission conditioned their approval of the Hollywood Target project in part by requiring that Target provide child care for its employees. Providing child care is a mitigation measure to reduce the impacts associated with megastores such as Target's. If Target refuses to fund the operational costs necessary and scarce public funds for parks and park maintenance are needlessly diverted to benefit private developer Target Corporation and provide for its employees' child care needs, then other projects will not be funded or properly maintained. The environmental consequences of diverting such funding must be properly analyzed, as the city's gift of public funds to a private developer resulting in diversion of limited public park funds requires proper review. Commission members noted repeatedly during public hearings that there's a strong likelihood that the child care facility will never be constructed and Target's employees will never receive child care. A mitigation measure cannot be illusionary. CEQA is required. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, speaking on behalf of the city, we have Recreation and Parks represented by Mr. Darrell Ford, and anyone else that Rec and Parks may feel the need to present. Kathy Santo Domingo, welcome.
Good morning, council members. Darrell Ford, Recreation and Parks Department. The department does not have anything specific to add to the record of what we've already submitted. Again, as you've heard, what's before you is the department's approval of the acceptance of an in lieu fee, which was a fee that was a condition of approval of the project. Part of that acceptance of the in lieu fee was the approval of the fee studies as previously discussed and had been discussed multiple times for this project. So that's essentially what's before you, and we have no additional information to add at this point. Available, of course, for your questions.
Thank you.
Kathy Santo Domingo, again, I'm available if you should have any questions.
Terrific. And colleagues, I'll address the in lieu fee portion of this, this issue in my closing remarks. But if you have any questions or comments, please.
And can I just note for the record, we've exhausted the public comment cards for this item, have we not? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney.
No? That's a question. You know, I'm sure there's plenty of other examples of in lieu fee that have been used in the past. Is this, does this differ in any way, or is this similar to other projects that have had child care in lieu fee?
Again, Darrell Ford, I'm only aware of this one project for a child care in lieu fee. I don't know if it's, if there are other specific plans in the city that have this. Certainly this one does for recreation and parks. But with all mitigation fees, the department collects other types of fees, so there's nothing new about collecting a mitigation fee. But for child care, this is the only one that we're involved in, to my knowledge.
All right, thank you. So thank you so much. I just have a few remarks to make about this whole issue. And the Target project at Sunset and Western has a very long history. It was approved by City Council back in 2010 and subsequently sued by Mr. Haynes on behalf of the La Mirada Association, Neighborhood Association. Because of the court's ruling, Target had to stop construction and file a new application with the Planning Department. And that was in early 2014. Years later, and after approving the project for the second time, Target is still unable to resume construction because of an association. It's an association of one individual has filed a second lawsuit. The appeal before us today is a last-ditch effort to stop the Target store from moving forward. The specific plan, and as the Station Neighborhood Area Plan, requires developments of a certain size to provide child care facilities on site or to provide an in lieu fee. However, it fails to provide any guidance on how to calculate the fee. Target originally proposed to pay an in lieu fee of $179,000, which I found unacceptable. Target then proposed to pay an in lieu fee of $484,000, which I also found insufficient. To move forward, I introduced a motion requiring Target to deposit $25,000 with the CAO so that the city could independently hire a third-party consultant to peer review Target's in lieu fee study. The results of the peer review recommended a $716,000 increase, and this summer the in lieu fee was unanimously approved by the Recreation and Parks Board of Commissioners. Now, because of this, Target will now pay over $1.2 million into our child care fund. I am the first to admit this is not a perfect project, and had the project come to me as a ground-up development, the design would be different, and you can't go back way before I was ever in office and definitively state how the project might have come forward. But while the project is far from perfect, it is much more good than bad. It'll bring economic vitality to an area that desperately needs it. It'll bring an active retail experience to one of our major commercial corridors that will service thousands of people. It'll bring hundreds of entry-level jobs to a socio-economically diverse neighborhood, and it will activate the streetscape and enhance the community. People in this neighborhood need jobs. Today, in strong collaboration with my office, HCID released an RFP to develop one of our surplus properties with affordable housing and childcare facilities using the in lieu fee we will collect from Target. That was released just today. At the end of the day, this is a project that is 3/4 completed. It's been an eyesore for years and is widely supported by the community. I get asked almost every day, either when I'm out in the neighborhood or at a community meeting, when is the Target going to get done? It is overwhelmingly supported. Lastly, I am very proud of the relationship that I had helped build between Target Corporation and Covenant House that support formerly homeless youth on establishing an employment pipeline that has been on ice for 3 years because of this lawsuit. So I would suggest to the appellants, Mr. Haynes and others, it is time to move on, and it is time to get this Target store completed and get people hired so that we can activate this corner. So I recommend, colleagues, that we adopt the recommendations of the September 21st, 2016 Board of Recreation and Parks Commissioners report. That is my recommendation.
And let me just note for the record, the city attorney, that the September 21st recommendations are also what the Rec and Park Board in its November 21st, 2016 letter to this commission also recommended be approved.
So we're recommending the November.
No, you can stick with what you said. I just wanted to clarify that those recommendations have been incorporated into the latter issued.
The November Recreation and Parks letter. Terrific. Thank you for that clarification. Without any objection, that shall be the order. Thank you so much. Mr. Sutton-Willis, where does that bring us?
We are at general public comment.
General public comment. All right. We have lots of general public comment here. And just know that in keeping with the procedure here, everyone has 1 minute, 60 seconds for general public comment. We're going to start with Brian Sonia Wallace, followed by Christian Pareas, followed by Stephen Sachs. My apologies. There's no name that I can't butcher. Sorry about that. Welcome.
Thank you so much, council members. My name is Brian Sonia Wallace. I'm honored to call the 9th District home, and I'm a voter. Today I'm representing Melrose Poetry Bureau. Can you guys stand up? We're a group of writers and artists, and we've come out to make public comment, many for the first time, as an act of participation to get to know you guys. And since April is National Poetry Month, we're going to do this in the form of poems. Okay. Verde, que te quiero verde. Verde viento, verdes ramas. When rivers run green, we blame algae, sea stagnation. So we slate government coffers for community beautification, earnest bureaucratization of that root word, beauty. This is a value we share. A child who recognizes their worth, steadying their hand on the paintbrush as steam rises from a river. Art is what makes these streets into places as neighborhoods dance beneath the trees. Thank you for believing in what's wild in Los Angeles.
Great, thank you. I love this, by the way. Thank you so much. Christian Pareas.
Hello, thank you for listening to me. My name is Christian Purvis Pareas, it's okay. Representing Melrose Poetry Bureau, I'm just going to try to improvise based off of all the feedback and all of the stories that I heard today. Just congratulations to all those that were appointed to points of commission. Honestly, I feel like it's our mission to promote the arts in our community. There's no immunity from all of these other sort of things going on around in a general area in this environment. I think we should, metaphorically of course, set fire to it, but also bring life and thrive in our community. Because I find that I don't understand why childcare is something that has to be debated. Honestly, I feel like it should be perpetuated. Is that just not the etiquette to provide benefits when we have have jobs that we need to give to lower income communities like you mentioned like 30 seconds ago. Honestly, I feel like this community is ready to blow because a lot of divisive issues have been raised currently in our political landscape. And I think, like you said, we need to increase the dreamscape and the streetscape. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Bravo. Stephen, followed by Jonathan Rios.
Thank you. My name's Steve Sachs. I live in the 4th District, and I vote representing Melrose Poetry Bureau today. Here's a little poem for you. Some of your constituents are taking barbiturates. Others are doing time and detention. But did I mention that some are paying attention and have retention, and these people vote? So if I may quote, you've got to have art. It is a start when you're having a picnic at the park and it turns the dull and the dark into sunshine and light, and that makes children bright. And now that the feds have taken funding away from things like the NEA, it's up for great cities like ours to say, art is important and very worthwhile. Spend a few dollars along the Miracle Mile. Pay for a poet or two to hang out in the schools. Teach those kids that using words makes them better than fools. Channel their frustration and violence into expression. Provide some reliefs for acts of aggression. Make LA a safer and better place to live. All it takes is just a small budget to give art and poetry a chance. Please don't forget music, drama, and dance. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Sachs. Jonathan Rios, followed by Ari Katz.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Jonathan Rios, 2nd District with the Empowerment Congress with Mark Ridley Thomas, as well as the Melrose Poetry Bureau. When I was a young lad, my mom and I couldn't afford, had to grab a roof over our head, but instead she begged and pled to have at least a bed to rest her baby boy's head that night because we were homeless. My mama protected me with a tent of love and acceptance. Since I had that, we still lived some semblance of normalcy. Our circumstances didn't define we. Skid Row was temporary because we connected to community, grasped the extended hand, and continued striving just to be the best me I could manifest to be. Summertime, an only child in LA, my mama that worked and a dad that never came my way. Game Shack would open up in the middle of the park. We better get it in because it closes after dark. To the basketball court, asking who was next, not having siblings, but this was second best. The park, my home away from home, and art exercise, my first exposure to a poem. From then on, I was one of Los Angeles' own. Thank you for Measure H for battling homelessness. Thank you for the tangible social impact that you had within the park system.
Thank you, Mr. Rios. Ari Katz.
Good morning, Council. My name is Ari Katz.
Good morning.
I was born here, raised here. I'm a child of the City of Angels, and I have seen all of her grace and all of her danger. I have walked her streets, and I have talked to the strangers from Skid Row to the Santa Monica Pier. My perspective has been pieced together on the front lines. It is incredibly clear. I am proud to call this city mine. But I see us nickel and dime our arts and parks in the neighborhoods that need them most, where the kids go to schools broken and hopeless. You know this. Once you cross the border into the affluent sector of the city, all of a sudden, everything is so pretty, where all the kids have yards and have their toys. What happens to the little girls and boys that don't? I raise my hand and I say, I won't stand. I won't let this pass by. How many kids do you see on these corners with tears in their eyes? We have to try.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. So I'm going to urge all of you to stay involved in this committee because we hear many issues on parks and federal funding and state funding to enhance our parks, oftentimes in the lower income communities. So we are tasked with identifying additional resources to place them exactly where they're needed most. And your advocacy is very, very important. Don't underestimate that. So we appreciate your creativity, your passion. We all depend on that, and it makes us better legislators. Thank you. And with that, we have no further items. Colleagues, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.